Doodle. Yes, you can. I'm sitting here doodling in a van with my buddies. Yeah, but my real name's Sam. Hi, my name is Mr. Doodle and I'm on the artthou show.
Today we're talking with an artist that doodles, and I mean he doodles on everything and anything. Give a warm welcome to Mr. Doodleman.
Hey.
Welcome to the artthou show.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to ask you first, how did all this start?
Well, I've been doodling since I was a little kid, maybe like, I don't know, I was probably 2 or 3, and I just made these little, my mum bought me these little books and I filled them up with drawings of like frogs and waterfalls and things and cartoons, and I always drew from like cereal boxes and comic books and got inspiration from that. And then my mum used to just buy me these huge like 500 sheet packs of A4 paper, and I just used to bake whatever I could from that. I really loved it. Like, they made you draw the person opposite you in our art classes at school, and they ended up looking like cartoons, the people I drew, and their eyes would always be like big bug eyes, and they'd be like, why do I look like a monster? And they didn't like their portraits that I did of them. I was really bad at doing realistic stuff, so I just got called like the cartoon kid in my class.
Have you done, do you have any sort of marketing experience at all? I mean, you mastered the whole marketing subject so well.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, well, I've always, like, from doing graphics and stuff like that, they taught us a lot about guerrilla marketing and showed us things like how Kit Kat made a bench look like a Kit Kat and stuff, and things like that, and the Cadbury's advert with the gorilla, and all those kind of fun ways to kind of market products and things. And I've always had an interest in like the business side of stuff as well as just the art thing, because I think if you really nail that, then like those two things shouldn't conflict each other. I think when they complement each other, it's really nice, works really well.
Yeah. You have doodled on practically everything. Caravan, cars, streets, walls, you know, cubicles. I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of things here. Is there anything that you haven't doodled that you're like dying to get into?
I'd love to paint like a tank or something like that, or like a flight, you know, like an aeroplane. I've never painted something like that. I'd love to do that. That would be amazing.
You have really mastered this whole social media concept, it seems like. Do you have any tips for, did you have like a certain breakthrough when you saw it went up, or you got a lot of engagement? Was there any sort of tips to...
Yeah, I painted, whenever I paint kind of big walls outside where I know there's going to be a lot of traffic and stuff, those points are really when the social media stuff goes up. It's interesting because a lot of the time when I do something that gets a good response on the internet, it'll be good, but when it's actually outside and people can see it for themselves, then they're more likely to kind of take a photo of it because they feel they've found or discovered something. When
did you sort of realize that I'm gonna take this to the next level? I'm gonna, you know, make it a career. I'm gonna go professional. At
first, I'd drawn on an actual shirt and trousers and stuff. I hadn't got one printed or anything, and I went into uni dressed up, and my tutor nicknamed me like Sam Cox the Doodle Man, and put it on his Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good. And it got a really good response at uni. Everyone was like, whoa, like look, he's like wearing his drawing suit and stuff. And then I thought, like, I can't take that off now. Like, I've got to keep wearing it because, like, you know, if that got that response there, I'd be denying myself that opportunity every time I went out. And although at first it was like, you know, I was really embarrassed to do it, I went out my flat and I was just like, you know, this is not right. I went into McDonald's and stuff, and people want to do like selfies and stuff, and that's all really good. It does get a little bit of, you know, like there is a bit of friction sometimes. Some people are just like, you know, weirded out by it and just like, why is he wearing that? Why is he like, kind of, people just get a bit like different about that. It's very few, but you know, a couple is enough to make you kind of like consider, should I be doing this or whatever. But yeah, I think you've got to kind of go fully in for something when you want to do it, because if you kind of go halfway, it just doesn't seem satisfying to me. Like if I want to do something, I really want to put everything into it. that's just how it's got to be. It's either that or don't do it at all for me, I think.
Yeah, and you created this person, and you created a narrative with this person. You have the Doodleland, and now you have a Doodle girl.
At university, we learnt about narratives and things like every hero or every main character has got to have obstacles and friends. So I thought, like, well, what's he going to have? He's going to have like a pet, like a doodle dog, like a girlfriend, I guess, a doodle girl, and like an evil twin enemy or something.
Oh yeah, the evil twin too.
Like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're really.
Because you're not really a twin.
No,
No.
It's just me dressed up. Yeah, they're all me dressed up. There's no one else involved. Just me dressing up as a girl when there's doodle girl and stuff. So it's all a bit weird, but yeah, I think that, like, you know, they're kind of basic ideas really, but it's just when you do. Sometimes they're the best ideas. You just do them in a really like fun way.
I don't know if it was a video or an interview, but you talk about having sort of like a fun park, like a Doodleland.
Oh yeah.
Is that an actual realistic goal, or is that also part of the narrative?
Well, most of the goals I set myself are quite unrealistic anyway. So, like, you know, like world domination through doodling. I feel like if you set yourself that kind of a really big goal, then if you land kind of halfway to that goal, then it'll still be a good outcome. So I like to set myself these kind of sort of seeming unachievable goals. But I think if you kind of, if you just go for it, then you're going to get somewhere that you want to anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to build like a doodle theme park, a Doodleland world.
So what would the theme park be? Would it have like rides and things, or will it do doodles and you colour in the doodles? What would it be like? What would be the ideal?
Well, I'd imagine in my head it'd be kind of like a town that sort of has like wacky buildings. It's all drawn on. People could finish off certain areas. There'd be like a colouring area with like Doodle Girl and stuff. There'd be like a haunted mansion area with the evil twin. You know, rides to go through Doodleland, like characters that are walking around in costumes. I guess like Disneyland-ish, I suppose, but with just more doodles involved, a bit more cartoony. There'd be kind of like moving sections, and I drew down some of these ideas and stuff, but I just, like I like throwing those ideas out just so, you know, hopefully we can do something with it in the future, really.
But I also want to ask you a bit more about commissioned work, because you do a lot of commissioned work for different companies and offices and things like that. How does that go about?
I used to approach them a lot more than they approach me now, but what I do is with the public pieces and things, when I make something outside, kind of like a big, you know, mural and stuff, that's when it's brought me those kind of gigs. People see that, and then when it gets shared around, then eventually that's where most of the jobs come from. When I was younger, I did reach out to a few different kind of collectives and agencies just to kind of get some seeds around, and then those contacts have grown with me, and I've kept in contact and done jobs on and off for them. But it's a weird one because trends go in and out, and some people might love your stuff one year and then the next year they want something different. So you've got to keep doing like new things. That's why I'm always do new types of animations or videos on my Instagram and social media, because a lot of the time the jobs look through that and then say we want something like this, and they won't know what they want until I've made something kind of similar to put an idea in their head.
Have you had a gig that you were sort of like, wow, this is like my biggest accomplishment?
I guess the MTV was probably when I did that, because I was drawing their logo and stuff, and then I stood back from it and I was like, that's pretty cool, because it was really that was great actually. That was definitely one of my favourite things to walk away from. I mean, in terms of the piece itself, it wasn't like, you know, my favourite piece, but the client and everything, I just felt like, you know, that's awesome. Definitely that one.
I know a lot of street artists, graffiti artists and all that sort of stuff. How do they react to the way, you know, the way you're going?
A lot of the majority of my friends and stuff that I've got are really nice and kind of supportive of it. There's definitely been a slight friction with some kind of graffiti artists, that kind of area, because when you think about like it, I'm the opposite of the kind of like anonymous face thing, you know, who's that person who's painting on the wall, and like there's no mystery about it because I put my face in everything. I put a picture of myself in the drawings, so that was kind of like a purpose full decision because I want to do something new.
Yeah.
And I think like it's a fun approach because, you know, there's already people that hide in themselves. It's a funny one if you're not doing anything illegal but you still want to kind of remain anonymous. It's going to be difficult because I think a lot of people like to see the face of the person who they're you know, working with. I think people like to have that connection, the human connection. I think you kind of almost switch that up a bit if you're hidden.
Yeah. What has been your biggest challenge after you graduated?
I I'd say probably physically it was this thing where I painted a big tunnel, which took kind of 4 or 5, I think it was 4.5 days, and each day was kind of like 17-hour days of just painting this tunnel. And then straight after that I got offered to do an exhibition just down the road where this gallery had a cancellation, and they said you can do an exhibition but you've got to prepare it and show it in the next 2 weeks. And I just said, like, yeah, okay, let's do it. But then I was staying up for like 19-hour days after that every day for like a week preparing this exhibition, and just physically, like, this was really exhausting. But it was a great opportunity. It just happened at a time where I was already really worn out from just painting the tunnel before, so that was a huge challenge, like physically. But yeah, mentally I guess it's like more of a case of, you know, when you come straight out of uni, there's a lot of, if you're going to kind of try and do this kind of thing full time, there's a lot of days where you're just kind of, you know, you're working from a studio and maybe like not getting so many emails or whatever about work, and but I think it's just staying persistent and making sure you kind of keep returning to the same basis of what makes you I guess. A lot of people do get in like a rut and then they don't know, you know, it's a constant cycle and you've got to break out the cycle. One thing that I've really noticed is that, like, it's almost like if you're ever on a streak in a game where you keep winning and then you want to keep going with it. So I think, like, if you start doing a little bit and keep going every day, as long as you don't break the streak, then you'll be motivated to do more. So I think it's kind of getting like a snowball running, because I think if you do a little bit then don't do anything for a while, then it won't be that motivating. But if you do something constantly and keep building it, then you'll start to see kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's more of like a, you know, you just have to get the wheels rolling, really. I guess there is a sense of I'll balance the commercial work with the personal work, so that the commercial work might be from 9 to 5, but in the evening I'll be doing my own thing, and stuff like that. So I make sure to balance the businessy stuff compared to the like more fun stuff, I guess. Now
you've done a whole bunch of marketing, I would assume you've done some mistakes too. Do you think, oh shit, I shouldn't have posted that, or I shouldn't have said that, or something? Is there like some big bloopers that, you know, we absolutely should not do?
Most of the kind of like things that I've done have sometimes been a bit embarrassing or cringy on purpose, because I wanted to kind of make that cheesy kind of like look. There's not been anything that I thought, God, I wish like I really hadn't done that. Although I think it is good sometimes to think, I wish I hadn't done that, because the more mistakes you make, the more you'll learn. So I don't think...
What is the right way,
I think you've got to be open to kind of making mistakes, as long as they're not, you know, like going to, like, huge money mistakes. Like, you don't want to invest in something really bad. But creatively, doing things, it's good to make mistakes, I think, sometimes.
What is it that you think makes a great artist?
Like, I'd like to say, kind of like breaking a certain boundary or doing something new, but then not everything that's new is always good art, or it's not always like good for the world, or it might just be new for the sake of being new, which is maybe not great. So it's a really difficult one, but I guess like I don't know, like, to me, I just really respect it when someone's really dedicated to their work and you know, that's their main thing. You can tell they've given a lot of energy to it. Like, that's what I really like. I don't know, that doesn't always make them a great artist though, so it's a really difficult one to say.
What is the next big project, or...?
There's a few things, like some like clothing stuff with some clothing companies, and I want to get my own house this year. So because I still live with my parents at the moment, with like in the double garage that I use as a studio and stuff. But I want to get like my own house and draw all over it, like the outside, the inside, and everything. I'm gonna live in that kind of doodle world, because ultimately I think that, you know, I've got to keep getting bigger and growing outwards with the brand. Like I really want it to be my full kind of universe like that.
Is there anyone that you would like to collaborate with?
Yeah, I think me and Banksy should do something.
Let's really? Banksy?
Yeah, no, that would be cool. Yeah, I think...
Well, you probably know someone that knows him, don't you?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, I've never tried to... I just think, like, you know, that a lot of people don't like Banksy, but really I think, like, you know, of our time, I just feel like that's the name that is the biggest at the moment, whether the work's your thing or not. Like, doing something with him would be pretty crazy. And not just artists though. I mean, I'd love to work with like anyone that can give me a big platform. Like I'd love to do kind of projects with like Cadbury's, if I could draw all over like a chocolate factory, like for a film, for an advert, that'd be amazing. Or Coca-Cola, or paint an aeroplane for Virgin Airways or something. You know, that like brands excite me just as much as, you know, artists.
Since you are so big on social media, do you have any sponsors? Because you're making clothing, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing a lot of stuff. Do you have any sponsorships?
So Pink Pig Sketchbook sponsor me and always send me kind of free sketchbooks because I always need them. Like I fill up sketchbooks every week, and I always just show pictures of the sketchbooks and tag them in the photos. It's not like I don't have to push them too much. They're really nice and relaxed, and I get free sketchbooks out of it. And I did a project before for Cass Art, and I got paid in Posca pens. So they gave me 1,000 Posca pens, I think it was, which I did not realise how much room that would take up at home. So they all got sent to my house, and it's just like crates of Posca pens. I think any you should,
Sharpie maybe.
I'd love to do stuff with Sharpie. And followers are really important, as you say. I've done jobs in the past where they've asked for like what my social media numbers are and stuff, and you get more money if you have a bigger platform, because they want to, a lot of the time they want to share what you're doing for them through your platforms, and they want to be like, can you share this picture of the mural you did for us? And you know, that's value to send that to your audience. Like,
I've seen your videos, you're really good at, you know, you're rapping a little bit down the street and everything. Can you bust a little rhyme for us here?
Okay, I'll give it a go. Okay, I'm Mr. Doodle, but people call me Doodle Man. You can call me Mr. Doodle, yes you can. I'm sitting here doodling in a van with my buddies, but my real name's Sam. World domination is a situation, doodle sensation all across the nation. Your expectation I will exceed. I want domination and I will succeed. Just you watch as I cover this surface. You may be thinking that, well, Earth it's our whole planet and it's not possible. Well, my drawing is unstoppable.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming on to the artthou show. It's been really good fun.
Definitely.
And for everybody watching, remember, be different, be you. High five. Yay!
That was great, man.